Okay, so you all know what these things are, right? A CD. But here's the thing. In a couple years, I have a feeling that these things are going to be useless. I mean, that's kind of the way technology works these days. Do you see this little thing right here? The first computer that I had, the memory on the first computer, I can put 32 of those computers onto this little stick. I mean, that's the way things go, right? Things that used to be like cutting edge technology can very quickly in this technological age become useless. And it's hard for me sometimes to even imagine what's next and how quickly certain things can become dinosaurs. Well, let me tell you why I got to thinking about this. A couple weeks ago, I was reading this devotional, and it was talking about this idea of work. And it was trying to describe how important our work is and how important Scripture talks about our work. And it got onto this concept in the midst of these devotional readings that I was doing on work. It got into this concept of usefulness and things that were not useful anymore. Now, I got to admit that this bothered me a little bit because it kind of made me seem that they were associating work with usefulness, as if you didn't have any work to do, you weren't useful anymore. And so the whole topic really bothered me a little, but I hung with it and I studied it a little bit further, and then I got even further confused because it read in this devotional this extremely obscure verse. So this verse comes from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 28. And this is what it says. Thieves must give up stealing. Rather, let them labor and work honestly with their hands so as to have something to share with the needy. Well, again, I was reading this devotional. I was trying to have it make sense to me. And I thought to myself, how does this relate to anything that I'm talking about or thinking about? I mean, I'm not a thief, so how does this relate to me? But I took some time and I thought a little more deeply about it. And I tried to think about maybe perhaps what Paul was trying to explain here and what this author of this devotional was trying to explain in terms of our usefulness and how he was connecting this to this concept of work. And then it occurred to me, you know what? As I look at that passage, thieves must give up their stealing, rather let them labor and work honestly with their hands so as they have something to share with the needy. I began to think about this whole concept of work differently. It's not talking about occupation necessarily. It's talking about the effort that we put out there in the world, whatever that effort is. So it's not about whether you're a working person with a career or retired and resting from your labors. It has to do with what you are putting into your life, what you are putting in to making yourself useful out there in the world. Now, it's true, our culture defines usefulness oftentimes as our occupation, what we do to make money. But in this passage, the thieves are making money by just taking. And as I looked at this and thought about it, I thought, perhaps one of the things that Paul could be telling us is quit being a taker and start being a sharer. That somehow our usefulness, the usefulness that we put out there in the world, is associated with how we share our resources, our life, our personhood with other people. Our usefulness then is grounded in the way we interact with others. And in that point, it doesn't matter if you are working or retired. It doesn't matter if you haven't even started working yet. Your usefulness is the way in which you share your life, your resources, your giftedness with another person. And that's something that I can celebrate. You see, these things may become useless at times. The technology, that will change. The physical skills that we might have in terms of the work we do as our career, that may change. But our usefulness in terms of the way we share our lives, that never has to change. So, be useful, Paul says. Don't be a taker. Find a way to allow yourself to become useful in whatever effort you put out, in whatever work that you do, and find that grounded in the way in which you connect with those that you're around, those who are of needs, those who perhaps just need a companion. Be useful in the way you share your life.